Everyone. I thank you all for joining our webinar today. I'd like to let you all know that we will be having a Q&A session.
Oh, Delisa, you went.
Yeah, Delisa, I'll do it because you're a little muffled there. Good morning, everyone. Ken Evans here with the Urban Chamber. I want to welcome you to today's Small Business Resources and Recovery webinar. What we hope to accomplish is make sure, first and foremost, we connect with you, give you a bit of an update on what's going on. At the same time, let you know that there are resources out there that at the same time you should also be thinking about how you're going to ultimately recover. But again, we want to make sure that we connect with you and ensure that we remind you that you're part of our Urban Chamber family, and whatever we do, we want to make sure that we're there for you. One of the things that we'll do is we'll start out, I'm doing a little bit of a welcome right now. In addition to that, we're going to mute, once again, we're going to mute everybody's microphone. And then when we get to the question and answer session, if you'll raise your hand, you should see either 3 dots, depending on the where you're running the Zoom application. You should either see 3 dots where you can raise your hand, or it'll show up when you tap your screen or click your mouse, you can raise your hand. Or the other thing that we'll be doing is we'll be monitoring the chat room. So I'd encourage you to put your questions in there. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just going through to make sure that we admit everybody so that they can come on in. And then as I'm doing that, I'm muting all the microphones. With that, again, one of the things that hopefully you received by now is a email letter that came out towards the end of last week. Again, what we were trying to do there is just reach out to all our members and even some of our extended Urban Chamber family members. We sent it to everyone because we wanted them to know what we're doing to connect to our members and keep them supported. This morning, what we'll do is we'll start out, Shondell Newsom, our board chair, is going to share with you some things that you should consider during the immediate response phase, as well as you should already be thinking, believe it or not, you should already be thinking about how you plan to recover your business, and hopefully jotted some initial notes down. I won't steal his thunder. He's going to talk to you about the mindset to approach and some things that you should do to develop a recovery plan. And then once he's done with his part of the presentation, he'll turn it over to me. I'll talk about some resources that hopefully by now, many, if not all of you have already tapped into, but if they are new to you, hopefully you will follow up on them. And then in addition to that, if you're already following up, hopefully you'll let us know if you have any concerns or comments. I know right now, something we're hearing is that people are completing the applications, but they're not always getting the communication that they're looking for. So that's where we want to continue to be a resource to you as our members. So having said that, let me go ahead and turn it over to our Urban Chamber of Commerce Board Chair, Shondell Newsom. He's going to talk to you this morning about some things to keep in mind as we try to get through the initial response, but just as importantly, begin to think about the recovery. Go ahead, Shondell.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, this is Shondell Newsom, board chair for the Urban Chamber of Commerce. I'm really blessed, and I want to say thank you to Ken and Delisa, because during this time, they have been a rock for our members, along with the additional staff and our volunteers. We have had a great response from our volunteers. We have a great response from our staff. Immediately when all of this hit, the first concern that we had right away was, how do we run the operations? And I know that Delisa was, we walked outside of KCP one day after a radio show, and we had an extensive talk about what happens if, and what do we do if. So thank you again, Delisa, for putting together a plan in place in mind. If when we were told to kind of shut down everything, we were ready for that. So kudos to our staff and the volunteers and the committee chairs who have been actively engaged in the chamber. The one thing that I always deal with, because most people don't think I really panic, but I do. I panic, but I have faith in God that everything is going to do. And I thank God for the opportunity that presents itself at this time. And I know some people might be confused about that, but let me just tell you why that's important. Is because I went through this before, and I mean not a pandemic like this, but an economic downturn during the recession in 2009. 2009 happened to be probably one of the worst years for me personally and professionally. Losing my father, who's the patriarch of my family, the guy that I relied on, my best friend, my first investor in my business. That was extremely tough, but I had to come through it, and we did make it through it. So I'm going to share some of those points that you have to think about in order to get through through this situation. In addition to that, I want you to understand something that, I always live by a quote by Dr. King, and I live by a lot of scriptures, so I can't quote the whole Bible. I don't have enough time, but I'll tell you, I live by this quote. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in times of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. And that stands for women too. I know Dr. King meant that for people to stand tough in those times, because those times are always going to happen. Sometimes it'll be more extreme than others. And this is one of those times when it's more extreme than the other one. So what I'm going to talk about today is, how do you focus on what's happening right now, but also how do you keep your eye focused on long term? Those of you that are CEOs of your companies, those of you who have you have your employees' fate in your hands, you can't get stuck in what's going on today. You have to visit that spot. You have to correct that spot. You have to triage that part of your business, but you still have to stay focused on the long term. We know that immediate relief is coming. Like there will be dollars that some people will acquire, but that is the time when you have to start planning. That is the time when you have to start thinking. And I'm talking about, like, right now, before you get all of that relief, you have to start thinking about preparing yourself mentally and preparing your business to not only survive through this, but to thrive afterwards, because that is going to be the key to all of this. There will be a lot of casualties. I am not sitting back thinking it's Peter Pan time. It's not time for us to dream that every business is going to make it out of this. But the ones that will make it out of this are the ones that sit back and think about, one, how we're going to plan, how we're going to recover, and more importantly, how we're going to thrive out of this situation. And in 2009, I thought that it was done. It was over. Like, wow, how am I going to help my mom put her estate together with my dad passing? How am I going to help my business that lost 60% of its revenues, and I lost 9 employees? What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to tell you the thing that you have to be encouraged by. You have to be encouraged that our congressional and Senate leaders in the White House did respond quickly for the state of Nevada. I know it may seem like it hasn't happened for us yet, but I'm telling you guys, this is much better than what happened in 2009. At least you have an opportunity to recover with funds from the federal government. That did not happen in 2009. At least we had the opportunity to bring our employees back. That did not happen in 2009. So there's some encouragement in this whole pandemic. I do feel the pain. I do feel the hurt, because I am from New York City. I have family members who are working in those hospitals. When they tell me the gory stories about what's happening, it just blows my mind. But I will tell you this. I also have to sit back and thank God that we as Nevadans thought about this. I know a lot of people are giving our governor heat about Easter and not being able to run their businesses and do all of that. I see it all on Twitter and all the social media outlets. But I will tell you, we are better off, based on what I heard from my family. We are better off not doing the Final Four. I love the Final Four, and I was looking forward to going to this draft. But I want you guys to understand, I am really, really excited about the fact that our governor and his boldness to shut everything down is really paying off, as far as us flattening the curve, probably a lot sooner, and definitely less casualties than anybody that I've seen so far. So I'm just giving you that piece. But I want you to think about the long term. This is so important. You have to, and with that long term, you have to come up with a recovery plan. I know most of you, I hope most of you have a business plan. I hope most of you are thinking about what has just transpired, and then you're looking at your business plan and saying, okay, can I do business the way I've always done business? And what I mean by a recovery plan is you've had to make some adjustments. You've had to change some things in your business during this time. Rose Davis just talked about the fact that the young people in her church had to come in and step in, and some in our church had to come in and help us to become virtual, to help us to be better on Zoom and better with technology. Well, if you're not up on technology right now, start looking out to how you can incorporate technology, not just for the future if an emergency happens, but how can it improve your business? How can it grow your business? How can it make you more efficient and more effective? So think about that when you're doing that. If you need to develop a recovery plan, remember, we got tons of resources that are available. Ken will talk about those later. So make sure you don't go down this journey by yourself. Make sure that you utilize all of the people and the team and all of the resources that are available at the Urban Chamber, those that are free and those that are paid, right? So when you get your recovery dollars, start looking at what do you need? What do you need as a team around you? What do you need operationally? What do you need from a management standpoint? What do you need from a personnel standpoint? And what do you need from a financial standpoint? And I'm telling you, like a lot of people who did not do a great job of setting their business up in the first place, make sure now you plug in those holes. Make sure now that you have the right insurance carrier, the right, make sure that you have the right banker, make sure that you have the right law attorney, make sure you have all of those people around you, because part of your recovery plan will be your network. And I'm telling you, my network came through big time during this whole situation. My network was the key to helping us stay firm and stay strong through all of this. And I want you as a business owner, if you are a business owner, you have a greater responsibility than yourself. I always say that business owners are selfless, not selfish. If you are being selfish and you got the woe is me attitude, you might want to let this thing go. And you guys know me, I'm pretty much straightforward. I'm telling you that, and Rose talked about this book earlier, Rose Davis from WRMSDC. You know, tough situations, I forget the book, but she said, you know, and I've heard this many times, is that tough situations don't always last, but tough people will. And tough people means that mentally and your spirit has to be ready for all of this, and you have to be tough through this situation. You will not be able to make it through this if you don't build the resources. So let me tell you where that comes from. That's leveraging what I call real relationships. Real relationships is not anything phony, right? This is not where, hey, I'm gonna call the bank, I'm gonna go through their rotary dial, I am going to pick up the first person that picks up, I'm gonna talk to that person because, you know, I have an account at that bank. No, that's where you have a relationship with that person before a crisis. This is a big key for you guys, is you have to set your plan in order so that you have these people in place before a crisis. When this crisis hit, I had so many people that I could reach out to and give a call to and get advice on what to do with my employees, what to do with my insurance, what to do with my banking, what to do with my taxes, what to do. I had all of those resources at my fingertips. What I learned from 2009 is those people who were committing suicide, those people who were frustrated, those people who were losing, was because they were not prepared. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I just want you to be prepared. So if a crisis happens again, you are ready. Leverage your real relationships. A real relationship is, I text Jerry Merritt, who is my banker, and she texts me back and say, what do you need? Hey, Jerry, I'm getting ready to apply for this PPP. What do I do? Oh, I got you. Boom, send me some information. That's a relationship. A relationship is when I call Quincy Branch and I say, hey man, do I have coverage for this? Do I have coverage for that? What do I do in this situation? Or, you know, I talk to Leah Crawford, or I talk to Dita Clifton. I talk to the people who I know have the answers, who are the experts in their field. And if you are running a business right now and you believe that you're saving money because you're not paying these experts, then this is the lesson you better learn from this. There were a lot of people that called me and Ken, and they did not have experts around them. They did not have people in their space. And I'll tell you the other thing. If you have not found value in your chamber membership before, you're going to find it now, because this is where all those trips to Washington, D.C., all of those trips to Carson City, all of those relationships we were building with all these congressional Senate leaders, the governor, all those different people, this is where it comes into play. This is where every time something came down from the SBA, they contacted Ken, or they contacted me, and they made sure we were involved from the construction of some things to the direction of what do we do in this crisis. So it's real important. It's just so important that you leverage your relationships. There are people who got on the phone with me now, and they're saying, oh man, now I want to join the committee. Now I want to do this now, because now they see the importance of what has happened, what has transpired. So now you see that it's very important for you to have these relationships, or as Ken said, have these relationships before you need them. Now I'm going to tell you some advice as I start to close, because I'm going to pass it on to Ken so he can talk about leveraging resources. I want you to take a couple of words, and I want you to, even if you got a pen, write this down. And I got this through every morning. I do my prayer. I do my time with God, and then me and Arlene take our walk, and then we sit down and have breakfast. But here's a couple of nuggets that I got from wisdom. I'm telling you, seek wisdom. In 2009, I sought out people who I know went through these type of downturns, and they gave me so much advice. And sometimes I just went out and just paid them because I wanted to make sure that I got the advice, and they didn't even ask for it, because I just made sure that I had the best advice to recover my business. I'm gonna tell you one that I want you to write down. Knowledge is horizontal. Wisdom is vertical. Wisdom allows you to grow. Let me say that again. Knowledge is horizontal. Wisdom is vertical. Wisdom allows you to grow. The other one that I always tell small business owners, always say this, is, and it's very important that you do this. And I'll put these in the chat box too, so you could have it. But here's another thing that I think is extremely important. You look in the rear view mirror, because people want to see and get stuck in the past and get stuck in what happened. Well, okay, we know we're in this pandemic. You look in the rear view mirror for perspective, and that's what you do. But you look into the windshield for opportunity. Let me say that again. You look into the rear view mirror only for perspective, and then you look into the windshield for opportunity. Because if you remember, as I started, what I was saying is you have to keep the long term in mind. Fix what you have to fix, move forward quickly, and grow your business. So that's my time. And I tell you what, God bless you guys. Those of you that are hanging in, God bless you. And I'm going to pass it along to Ken now, who's going to talk about those resources, because now is the time for you to seek those resources. And now is the time for you guys to grow and develop your business after this crisis and go from survival to thriving. Thank you very much. Ken, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, Shondell. As always, appreciate your words of wisdom, which helps us apply knowledge. I want to go back to what he mentioned about coming up with a recovery plan. That is very, very important. Yes, you need to do the minimum things necessary for your business to survive right now, in terms of looking at your finances, looking at your operations. And then for those of you that are still operating, marketing your business, but it's just as important to make sure that you keep that long-term perspective in mind. To that end, I want to make sure that I cover some resources that are out there. I'm also going to highlight some of our resource partners that I know are on this call, but they can be of help in terms of either reviewing an existing business plan that becomes your recovery plan, or if you're starting a little bit behind the curve or without that much, they can help you develop some type of recovery now and definitely in the future. Something I'm going to also share with you is that we've already reached out to the governor's office of economic development, and what we've talked to them is we've said, look, please keep the urban chamber, and more importantly, please keep our small business members in mind in terms of the discussions for the immediate response and definitely the long-term recovery. We all realize that what we're about to go through is a new normal, as Brandon Ward would call it. And what he meant by that is when we come out of this, we cannot fight, or we shouldn't try to fight to get back to exactly where things are. Some things are going to be adjusted or modified based on lessons learned in terms of expanding and diversifying our economy. What I want all of you to do is to figure out where you fit in that new normal or that new economy, if you will. So to help you out with that is, by now, I hope that all of you have heard of what they call the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, as well as the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and you should see a URL come up in a few minutes here. And this will be for the Urban Chamber. What we've done is we've made sure that the Urban Chamber created a page, and you'll see, you go to our main page, and then if you click on that banner, it'll take you to the COVID-19 update page. And then what we've done is we've divided into links that give you general information from a health safety standpoint. It talks about the CARES Act. There's a section for businesses. And then one thing we definitely want to communicate to you is that it's also important to us how your household is doing. So that's the reason why we also have information in there for individuals. Plus, when you scroll all the way to the bottom, there are stories that are in there with press releases from some of the utility companies in case you need information on how to get some forbearances or some considerations in terms of some of your household concerns. But coming back up to the CARES Act section, what you'll see is that there's a small business owner's guide to the CARES Act, and then there's also a summary of the coronavirus stimulus bill. What we're doing is, Shondell mentioned the fact that our congressional delegation, as well as our state elected officials and local elected officials, they're sharing resources and websites and information with us. And when they do, they send it to us at info@urbanchamber.org. We go through and we vet it to see where it should be slotted, and then we post it to our page. I'll tell you that Small Business Owner's Guide to the CARES Act, we were given that by one of the elected officials so that we could put that information out so that you could go through that as a business owner. If you come down to the business tab, what you'll see is we've been making an effort to put the applications on there, as well as the other information that you'll need, whether it's from the Internal Revenue Service or the IRS, or in the case of the SBA, the actual link to the disaster assistance loan is there. And what I was just talking about is the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Fact Sheet, or EIDL. And then the actual application is at the SBA.gov Disaster Assistance Loan link that you see there. So again, you can come to this website, and this will help you access the information you need in order to apply for the EIDL loan. And then for the CARES Act has information in it for the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. What I will tell you about the PPP program is that that program is administered on behalf of the SBA by banks. So if you've have not already been in contact with someone from your bank, it's imperative that you contact whoever your personal banker or business banker is in order to start the application process. Again, to Shondel's point, if you've leveraged and maintained a relationship, I know in many cases, either your banker has already reached out to you, or perhaps your tax professional or accountant has already reached out to you to help you complete the form. So either way, that'll get you the information you need in order to access the PPP program. The other link that I want to point out to you is the business information website. And you get there by typing in lvgea.org. And what this site is designed to do is they wanted to come, one of the concerns that has come up is the fact that there's all this information out there and people don't know what is the most current, what is the most accurate piece of information. So one of the things that we're doing is we're linking to and encouraging people to bookmark the site that I'm at now. It's lvgea.org/ and then you click on view resources. And what you'll see is the Nevada COVID-19 Response Business Information Network. Again, this is done in concert with the Nevada Department of Business and Industry, as well as the Governor's Office of Economic Development. What this is designed to do is to pull together one information source in a real-time manner. They make an effort to update this just about every day. In addition to that, they also consult with the SBA Nevada District Director, Joe Amato, to get the most current information about the resources that are out there. So the point I'm making is these are two key resources. You can come to the Urban Chamber website and access our COVID-19 page, but I also want to make sure that you are aware of the Nevada Business Information Network page as well, and that you bookmark that page as well. The other thing I want to mention is that we talked about the importance of having a business plan that can be tailored into a resource plan or recovery plan. We have some people that can help you with that. Right here at the Urban Chamber, we're fortunate to have the Nevada Small Business Development Center, or NSBDC. We have business mentors that are still working in a virtual manner, and they can assist you with going through where you are right now, and more importantly, where you want to be, first to survive, and then more importantly, to thrive as we move forward. In addition to that, we also have SCORE counselors and business mentors. In fact, I believe Bob Cushman is on the line today. So again, we do have resources here. We do not want our Urban Chamber family members to feel like they're alone or out there by themselves. We want you to reach out to us, get in touch with us, take advantage of the resources that we have in terms of the information we're putting out there, but just as important, the human resources we have. I'll give another quick shout out. For example, I think I saw Phyllis Johnson on the phone. She's one of our accountants that's part of our Urban Chamber family here. If you are a business owner that needs to brush up some of your financials so that you can access some of these programs, she's a possible source. Lydia High is a resource. Leah Crawford is a resource. Dita Clifton is a resource. So again, if you run into a challenge or you run into a concern, we want you to let us know about it at the Urban Chamber. The other thing that I also suggest is that if you find along the way, we've had several individuals mention to us that there's some unique grant opportunities out there that allow people to apply for maybe a $5,000 or $10,000 grant just to give them a shot in the arm for their business. If you see something like that that's unique, send it to us at info@urbanchamber.org and we will post it. One of the other things I came across is that the Minority Business Development Agency has a grant opportunity for women-owned businesses that does not close, I think, until mid-May. That link will be posted at our website in the not too distant future. So again, if you find opportunities like that, whatever you do, please share them with us so that we can in turn share them with our members at our Urban Chamber resource site, or in some cases, we'll be sharing the information through the Business Information Network so that they can have access to it as well. And what I want to do now is I'm going to start monitoring the chat room to see if anyone has any questions, or if you raise your hand, we'll pay attention to that. So let me find out now. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. Okay, I don't see anyone asking any questions. Does anyone have any questions about the way the process is going? I will say this, I do know of a couple of people that in one case, they actually received a portion of the EIDL loan that they applied for, meaning they got a part of the $10,000 advance. The way it was done is they received a $1,000 allowance for each of the employees that they reported. In addition to that, I know of another individual that actually had their EIDL loan, and these are all Urban Chamber members. And the reason why we're making a point to stay in touch with the Urban Chamber members is they help us understand ahead of time in a proactive manner if things are working or not working. But I do know of another Urban Chamber member that successfully received their EIDL funds, which was a good thing. And that let me know that the process may not be moving as fast as we wanted to, but I know that the SBA is making some improvements to their bandwidth so that people can apply faster. For example, when you first started, it took a lot longer to apply online, but I worked with an individual just the other day. We were done in a matter of 10 minutes. So it is improving. Okay, let me go back to the chat room. Okay, it said, hi. Okay, this is from Unica Colbert. It says, did you find out information regarding if we would need to reapply if applied for the EIDL prior to PPP? My understanding at this point is that here's the key, if you applied and you received a confirmation, then when you applied to the EIDL, you should be good if you were applying for the EIDL when they flipped over to the new form. On the other hand, if you want to apply for the PPP program, that is a totally separate program that you would apply for using the banks, okay? And the other thing that I'll point out is that the EIDL approvals, they don't come for the, I want to make sure that I make the distinction again. EIDL approvals and loans come directly from the SBA via the US Treasury. On the other hand, the PPP program is administered by the banks on behalf of the SBA. If you do have a confirmation, if you do have an EIDL confirmation, you do not need to reapply. But if you did not get a confirmation, like in some cases, people were having trouble getting through, you are in a position where you may have to reapply if you do not have a confirmation. Okay, let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Okay, this one is from Mona. It says, I received a confirmation from the EIDL loan, filled out the Verizon grant Should I wait to receive my tax info before proceeding to apply for the other resources? I'm going to say, what I would advise people to do is, especially for the PPP program, go ahead and contact your bank and get in the queue. And if there's information that you're missing or need to complete your application, let it catch up or work with your contact to catch up. But especially for the PPP program, there's a limited amount of funds, so you should go ahead, contact your banker. Now then, one thing that came up is in some cases, not all banks are working with customers that are not previous clients. The exception is US Bank. In addition to that, I believe there's an online entity called Cabbage. But again, the best thing to do is to follow up with your banker. Let's see, from Tierra Flynn, good morning. Any feedback you can share or additional information to help us follow up regarding our idle loans? The best thing to do is to call the, I believe there's a 800 type number that you can call to get a status. In addition to that, you can also call the local SBA office. And unfortunately, I know there's trouble getting through sometimes, but the best thing to do is to call those telephone service numbers. Now then, having said that, if you're a member of the Urban Chamber, and to a certain extent, even if you're not a member of the Urban Chamber, definitely if you're a member of the Urban Chamber, if you're still not hearing anything within a reasonable amount of time, let us know, and believe me, we will reach out and advocate for you to find out what's going on. A question from Denisha Mingo, do you know what banks those approvals came from? I do, well, here's what I'll say. Going back to the individual that got the portion of the $10,000 advance, that came directly from the US Treasury via the SBA. In terms of the PPP program, I'm not sure what bank this individual was approved by, okay? But if I can, because I want to respect their confidentiality, but if they're comfortable with me sharing it, I'll share it with the group. Okay, the phone number, Aviva Gordon shared it, the 1-800 number to check your status, 1-800-659-2955. Again, that's 1-800-659-2955. Thanks, Aviva, for putting that in the chat line. And it says, okay, and I'm gonna go in the order. What can you share for new business owners? I am unemployed and was in the midst of starting my own business. Okay, that's a tricky one because unfortunately, the way they're doing some of the programs is they're looking at your past revenue to determine what your economic injury is. However, having said that, Selena Kelly, I would still encourage you to apply, document your situation, and let them tell you what they can or cannot do. The other thing I would suggest to you is, depending on the nature of your unemployment, I know that Dr. Tiffany Tyler and her team at Dieter and the Unemployment Insurance Department are making an effort to ensure their site is even more robust, as well as they just hired 100 additional people, or they're in the process of hiring 100 additional people to handle unemployed insurance claims. So again, Selena Kelly, what I would encourage you to do is document to the best extent possible what you were planning to do and use that to apply for the economic injury program. And also I invite you to follow up with us offline and maybe we'll get a little bit more details from you. Next, Rosalind Brooks asks, unfortunately, I bank with Wells Fargo and they aren't accepting any apps. They only took apps for 24 hours. Yes, I'm somewhat aware of that situation. Rosalind, what I would encourage you and others to do that run into that situation, go to another bank. In fact, not to put one bank over another bank, but Rosalind, I would encourage you and others that run into that situation, contact our corporate partners at US Bank. I do know that they are willing to work with individuals that are not necessarily prior clients. Let's see, Unica Colbert said, we did receive response from Bank of America regarding our PPP application. Now have to send additional information today. Thanks, Unica, for being willing to share that with everyone. So that's good to know. And then Denise Dixon just said Nevada State Bank will accept new clients to apply for PPP too. Here's what I'm gonna say. And Aviva Gordon just checked in and said, check with credit unions. And then Delisa let me know that Dream Spring can do PPP loans as well. That lets me know that community development financial institutions like Dream Spring, and many of us know them as Oxion. I'm glad to see that credit unions and CDFIs can be part of the PPP process as well. The bottom line is, if you're getting stuck, do not suffer in silence. That's the reason why we wanted to do this call, is we wanted to make sure we reached out to our members and let them know that we're here for you. And if you are running into challenges or getting stuck, let us know so we can try to help you get unstuck. I know that's not good grammar, but the bottom line is we care about you. You're part of our Urban Chamber family. We want to take care of you. Leah Crawford just shared that she got funded through Bank of America. Okay, so that's good to know. And then Taisha Moore just shared with everyone, we received a response from Bank of America, and we'll send over additional information today. So that's good to hear. What that's telling me is that Bank of America is managing to move through the process with people. So that's a good sign. Danette just shared Michael Edwards' information from US Bank. So again, if you're in the category of an individual that is not a prior client of a bank that you're interested in applying to, or you're running into that situation, again, US Bank is an option, as well as people mentioned, Dream Spring, which is a CDFI, or credit unions. Okay, any other questions at this point, comments? And I tried to scroll through, I think I captured everything. Again, what I'll point out is, if you are running into any, okay, I'll come back to you, Michelle. If you are running into any situations, please contact us at the Chamber, as well as if you have information to share, like unique grants or unique opportunities, or things that you think would be good to share with the membership, not only for our small businesses, but the households represented by our small businesses. Again, send that to info@urbanchamber.org. What I'll also tell you is, if you need to follow up with me personally, my phone number is 702-648-6222, extension 103. Again, that's 702-648-6222, extension 103. The good thing about that, it'll turn your voicemail into an email that'll come right to me. And thanks to Lisa for posting that. Michelle, no problem. Have you talked about self-employment / independent contractors getting PPP? No, Michelle, I've not dealt with that, but let me break it up into two parts. Self-employed individuals, or sole proprietors, if you will, are eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program. Independent contractors, I believe in recent revisions, will be eligible to apply for PPP program as well. At the same time, if you do run into a situation where you're an independent contractor and you're not eligible for other types of support, they've expanded the rules for unemployment insurance so that you can get benefits through that avenue. So the bottom line is, better efforts have been made to make sure that we take care of independent contractors, because they know, as a general rule, they would not be taken care of through normal unemployment insurance channels. Thanks, John Pennington. He mentioned the fact that Nevada State Bank has a contact that you can reach out to as well. Karen, 702-706-92220. So again, we just want to make sure that we're a resource for everyone, and that you know that you're part of our Urban Chamber family. We don't want you to make the journey by yourself, especially now in these crucial times. We have resources here. Again, I showed you the website page, the COVID-19 site for the Urban Chamber, but just as importantly, make sure that you bookmark the Nevada Business Information Network site as well. I have a feeling that as we roll into the recovery phase that Shondell talked about, more and more information will be coming out through the Business Information Network site. Part of the reason why is because, for those that are not aware, the LVGA, or the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, they're the regional development authority for the Southern Nevada region. So what that means is they're responsible for making sure that we expand and diversify our economy. So we will be talking to them about the things that they plan to do for the immediate recovery, as well as the long-term expansion and diversification of our economy. So I'm glad to see that. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Had a few more questions come in. And first of all, the NSB, the number at Nevada State Bank in contact is Karen 702-706-9220. Again, that's Karen at Nevada State Bank, 702-706-9220. And thanks again, John Pennington, for sharing that information. Rosalind asked, have you heard when the $600 unemployment insurance support will reach Nevada recipients? I do not know. I think things are supposed to be freeing up, but here's what I'm going to do. I'll have my staff make a note of that. We will research it. Rosalind, I'll make sure that we communicate that to you, or perhaps our entire membership. Again, what I want to point out to everyone is we know that we're here for small, diverse businesses, but we also know that we need to be a resource for the independent contractors or individuals that are your employees and part of the households that are represented by your employees. So to that extent, we want to make sure we stay on top of the $600 as well. Shondell just mentioned the $600 checks are supposed to be released this week, according to the federal government. So that's good news. We'll see what that means for the state of Nevada and get back to you. Great point, Marcel. He just mentioned, please keep in mind the roadmap. If you go to the Nevada Business and Industry website, and Marcel just put the link here, you'll see that there's a roadmap here. And I'll go back to the individual, I believe it was Selena, that said you're in the process of developing your business plan. I would encourage you to go to this website, because it will take you through a roadmap that will talk about the training, the licenses, the community, the business community partners that you need to contact in order to move forward with your business. They'll list we have, let's see, Dieter has updated their website. Yep, thanks for that. Yeah, Dieter has updated their website and now state, yes, Dieter's updating their website so that it flows faster and more accurate. So hopefully that's going to help out. Thanks again, Marcel, for that link to the business roadmap. Okay, if there are no other questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Shondell back on to wrap us up, and then we'll sign off. Once again, what I'll remind everybody of, if you need information or you're getting stuck, reach out to us. You're part of our Urban Chamber family. We want to make sure that we take care of you as such. And with that, Shondell, would you share any final comments or words with our participants today?
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for all that great information, and thank you for all of you participating. One thing Ken is keep saying, remember, is don't suffer in silence. This is real important because, again, over a decade ago, we didn't have all of these resources in place. Even what Marcel shared, we didn't have these things ready to go. I can tell you that the state of Nevada is much better off, because I talked to a lot of people. We're much better off than around the country. So you can take some solace in that, and you can get excited about that. The other thing I want to point out is that Aviva on the line is the chair of the issues committee for the Henderson Chamber, which I'm a part of. I've been a part of for the last 3 or 4 years. And one of the things I want you guys to understand is that this is the work that Ken and I do when there is no crisis. This is what we spend our time. We spend hours upon hours upon hours spending time with legislators, spending time with DEETR, spending time with workforce, spending time with health agencies. We have a lot of stuff to fix. Even after this is all said and done, we have to fix our access to capital. Hopefully this helps people understand why small businesses need access to capital. We don't need to play these games and jump through hoops when there's a tragedy. We need to make sure that that happens during peacetime. As me and Ken are both Air Force guys, a lot of things that we did in the Air Force, it drives us crazy that in the private sector, we are not prepared. We should have been prepared for access to capital. That means that when a crisis hits, everybody should be able to mobilize. That's what we do. We can mobilize 10,000 people in less than an hour. And that's what we want to do with our small businesses. We want you to stay encouraged, but we also want you to stay engaged. We need you engaged. When we say call our state legislators, call our federal delegates, please do that. And Aviva and I were on our way to DC May 12th through the 14th. We were headed out to DC, and we were ready to, go to battle over healthcare, over access to capital, over workforce, over Bureau of Land Management and land issues and things like that. I want you guys to clearly understand why this is so important, but I also want you to understand why it's important that you prepare your business. This is still the greatest country in the world, because you got a lot of free resources that Ken just mentioned to you that you can use to build and grow your business. And I always say that if a person is not willing to work, they shouldn't eat. Well, I don't say that. The Bible says that. Thessalonians 3:10 says, if you are not willing to work, you should not eat, right? So as an entrepreneur, put the work in. Do what some of these people, I see Danette, I see Denise, I see all of these entrepreneurs on the line, and make sure that when Ken gives you all this information, you go to work. If you don't get through on the first call, keep calling. If you don't get through on the internet, keep trying. If you can't get through the chamber, keep trying. If you give up, then guess what? This country is done. So I want our small businesses to take this and run with it. This is information that I wish I had a decade ago. Those of us that have been in business over a decade know that none of this existed back then. And I'm so grateful to our federal delegation, to our governor, to all of our chambers of commerce, because all of them, and Ken will tell you, they have a wonderful relationship. When I go around the country, those relationships don't exist. They are fighting tooth and nail. So thank God that we have people here who think about others than themselves, and they are here truly to serve. So kudos to you, Ken. Kudos to the other chamber presidents, to Scott, to Mary Beth, to Peter, to Sonny, and all of the chamber presidents that keep in mind that they're going to work with the LVGEA, because I remember when they were the Nevada Development Authority, nobody worked with them. So I want to give you our perspective of what you have today is a true blessing. So with that, I do want you to be encouraged. I don't want you to hang your head. Is it frustrating? Yes, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, especially for us. Nevada businesses are very strong. So thank you again, Ken, for putting this on. Thank you, Delisa. Thank you, staff, for making sure. And thank you, members. And thank you, those of you who contributed to this call. It's an amazing thing to watch.
And with that, we'll wind down. Just want to let everyone know that this call was recorded, so we'll be able to post this, clean it up a little bit. Can't clean me up, though, unfortunately. I got my Grizzly Adams look. But we'll clean it up a little bit, and then we'll make it available. So if people have questions or they want to see those websites I mentioned, they'll be able to follow up on that. Please share the information with others. Believe it or not, there are still people that do not know about the resources and the programs that we mentioned. So please share the information. In fact, proactively, if you know you're already taken care of, reach out to 3, 5, 10 people that you normally associate with. Make sure that they're taken care of. And I'll be, let me emphasize this too. From our standpoint, they don't have to be an Urban Chamber member. If they're part of this small business community, reach out to them, and we'll be happy to help them as well. So thanks again. Someone asked, will there be a recap email? Yes, we can look at doing something where we put those links out. We shared them in a letter that we sent out late last week, but we can send them out again just to make sure that people have the link to this webinar, as well as the links to the 2 websites that I covered, and NSBDC and SCORE, and some of the other resource partners that can help us all survive to thrive. And with that, I bid you all a good day. Let's make it happen. Hit us up offline if you need to for some unique situations, comments, or concerns. But again,
Oh, Ken, let me add one more quick thing. One more quick thing, if you don't mind. One thing is, I'm sorry I thought about this, but I know that there are people on the line who are challenged with mentally dealing with all of this. Spiritually, deal with whoever you have to deal with. I deal with my church pastor. Mentally, talk to those medical experts. Listen, mentally, it is the best investment you can make. If you're a business owner, do not go through this and mentally crush yourself. If you need mental help, talk to Dinesha, or she can refer you to people who can help you. Dinesha Mingo, Behavioral Health Services, but she can also refer you to other people if she's okay with saying, hey, you know what? I might not be the right one, but we got people for you. I want you to do that, because I had a conversation with a business owner in 2009. Me and my son did. And on Friday and by Monday, he killed himself, and he tried to kill his wife. Thankfully, she did not come home. I don't want anybody to go through that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know how tough it is. I know how hard it is. I know that you're going through some emotions that you may not want to share, but this is not the time for you to have this big pride. Step out of your comfort zone and talk to somebody. Okay. And if you need Dinesha's information, I'm sure we could put that up there on the website as well.
Thank you very much. Very good point. We're all in this together.
Yes.
All right. And yeah, Dinesha just confirmed, if it's conflict of interest or not a good fit, more than happy to refer. All right. Thank you again, all. Reach out to me if you need to offline. Dinesha is posting her information. Even if you don't need it, you may know someone else that could use it. So thank you all again. This will conclude our call, and staff will sign off and conclude the recording. Thank you all very much.
All right.